Good morning, everybody. I am Carolyn with Midwest Manufacturers Association, and we welcome you to our marketing series webinar today, which the topic is clicks to customers, advanced lead generation campaigns for manufacturers. And our presenter today is Andrea Yank, Director of Marketing Services for Top Floor. And I just wanted to let you know we will be recording this webinar. So if you miss something or I will be emailing it out to everyone. So you will have it in your hands in the next day, I would say. So, all right, at this point, I will turn it over to Andrea. And one other thing, I wanted to thank our webinar sponsor, US Bank, as well. So Andrea, take it over.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I'll try to answer them as we go. Otherwise, I will definitely circle back at the end of the presentation. A little bit more about me. I work for Top Floor. We are a marketing agency specializing in manufacturing, which is why I'm here. As the Director of Marketing Services, I do oversee the recurring side of things. So where we offer SEO, PPC, social, any of those channels as recurring services for our clients. If you want to reach out to me, you can certainly reach out directly in my email. Otherwise, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there as well. A little bit more on Top Floor. We've been around since 1999, and again, really working side by side with manufacturers since then. That is really our specialty. And here are some of the companies that we have worked with and continue to work with. A lot of these companies we've worked with for over 10 years. We've had a partnership with them ongoing. So you might recognize some of those names. All right, jumping into the topic at hand. So why are we talking about basically digital marketing lead generation through digital marketing for manufacturers? Really, we need to understand the state of manufacturing marketing today. So 74% of B2B buyers conduct more than half of their research online before making an offline purchase. That's important. That means that your website, your digital presence is their first impression and second impression and possibly third impression. And they're comparing you guys to your competitors as far as the digital presence goes. So there's really been a digital shift in B2B manufacturing. We see it with our own clients. Obviously, they were expanding their services with us. We're getting more people inquiring about starting services for manufacturing. And really what we need to understand is that B2B is different than everything else. That includes really long sales cycles in some cases and really complex buying committees. It's not what it used to be over 25 years ago, which was you had somebody in charge of purchasing. That purchasing person would probably go to the CFO or CEO and talk to them about that particular vendor, and then they would make the purchase. Now it's you have to get this many quotes. We have to compare even financials of this company, right? It's an extensive process for a lot of bigger companies. So your lead generation really has to go beyond the traffic that you're getting digitally. It's really about the qualified leads that convert and the qualified traffic that convert to qualified leads. So why advanced lead generation matters? Again, generic campaigns really are wasted ad spend. If you've ever been in a situation as a marketer and whoever you're reporting to says, you know what, we need to do PPC or we need to do Google ads. We need to be on LinkedIn. That's fine. But a lot of times those services or those channels are picked up without any real strategy behind them. And again, that's wasted ad spend. You're not incorporating that in a very thoughtful manner within your buying cycle. And at that point, you can be completely off in your messaging. The actual user journey is disjointed. There's things that can be better about that. And then really advanced strategies align both marketing, sales, and operations. And that's super important with a company that relies on all three of those as a hub for your prospective customers. And you really want to focus on visibility and conversion. So visibility, like I said, your digital presence being that first, second, even third impression for those potential customers. And you really want to set a foundation in your marketing for measurable ROI. So like I said, if you're picking up those not random, but one-off channels, how are you setting those up for reporting on your return on investment? Because if it's just, well, we have $1,000 to spend on here, but then nothing is set up to measure if that was effective, how do you know you want to spend that money next time? Or maybe that wasn't enough money, or maybe that was too much money. So definitely setting the foundation for tracking and analytics and understanding that how everything incorporates into ROI. And I'll get into what channels are better for ROI and what channels are more of a support. So we'll talk about that as we go on here. So step one is really defining clear objectives. And I feel like some people kind of skip this step, and this is important. We need to start back before we're even thinking about what channels. We need to really start off with what is our objective? What are our goals here? And I'm going to give you a range of different types of goals or objectives here. So really your marketing goals can support specific needs. So let's say you want to overall increase RFQs or demo requests. That is probably my least favorite goal, actually, because yes, everyone wants to increase their RFQs or their form fills, right? But is there a specific business need, or is there a specific business branch that we could be supporting? That's what I would want to deep dive into. Another marketing goal could be grow in a new vertical. So we see this as an up-and-coming vertical. We've dabbled in it. We're not there. We're not number one. We're not even number two, but we want to grow in that new vertical. What are some of the tactics that we can do to really make a name for ourselves there? And support a product launch. So if you know you have something coming up in the next year, get ready now. Understand what channels you're going to be using, what type of messaging you're going to be using for those channels. My favorite type of objectives or goals are actually those that tie back to business goals. So if you can reverse engineer your goal metrics from an actual business goal, that's going to help you show impact of your efforts above anything else, really. So if you know that you need to grow sales or revenue in a particular product line, reverse engineer that. Okay, I know that means that I need to get 20% more sales in that particular product line. How many opportunities does that mean? Because we have a 50% close rate on our opportunities, right? Okay, how many leads normally turn into opportunities? Okay, so I need to inflate that. And then how many leads do I usually get from what amount of traffic, right? So reverse engineering that particular revenue goal into actionable goals for you to put your marketing efforts behind and measure against. And that way you can see, am I making progress towards that goal? Am I making the right type of progress? Am I making progress in a steady cadence that will get me to that goal at the end of the year? Or do I need to ramp up my efforts here? And then this next step is going to be imperative that you really understand your funnel. So think about it from at least these three, and there's a million different steps to understanding your buying cycle and understanding the funnel. But at least these three steps, really understand what your customers are looking for in these funnel steps. So in the awareness, maybe they realize they have a problem, but they're unaware of what solutions are out there. your product or your service is that solution. Number two is like the interest piece. So they begin to seek more information about your specific solution, not necessarily you at this point, but your specific solution. So what kind of keywords are you targeting? What kind of messaging do you want out there? What kind of helpful documentation can you be offering them at this point? Think guides, case studies, that kind of thing, to help them along and show that you are a viable solution, right? And then in the consideration phase, so they know they need your solution, but they will compare you to every alternative out there, not every, but other alternatives out there to find what best fits their needs. And at this point, again, those case studies really help. Testimonials, that's social proof that can show you you help people through whatever issue that they are having. So again, understanding this funnel is important to this next step, which is building that integrated engine. So your website, SEO, paid media, and content should all work together. And I'll say, especially your content. So I don't know if you've had experience trying to create technical content or B2B type content, but it takes a lot of work. You have to have your subject matter experts. There's revisions. You have to make sure that your content is meeting the needs of the people that are searching for it. So you have to incorporate keywords. It's a lot of work. You certainly do not want to take all that time, spend all that time to create that content just to throw it on your website and call it a day, right? Like, oh, that was done. Check mark on that. Nope. You absolutely want to reuse that content in multiple areas. So paid search, social, wherever you can point people to that content who are actively searching or the right type of audience for that content. That's what I mean by really incorporating all of your channels in a good way, right? So as far as your website, you really need it to be conversion focused, fast, so not slow loading, and have clear call to actions. Ask for the quote, ask for the form fill. Don't be afraid to do that. That SEO, so search engine optimizations, you really want to at least capture those high intent searches. So as an example, custom automation equipment supplier, if somebody's searching that, I want to make sure that we are capturing those people and showing up hopefully in the top 10. On the paid search and social side, this again is where you want to amplify your visibility to the target audiences, but make it valuable. So yes, you can create paid search around those high intent searches as well. It's kind of a quick way to get in front of those high intent searches while you're working on your organic presence, if it's subpar at the time. And then social is really to get in front of the right audience with the right message, with the right type of content that's going to push them into that funnel. Right. And then again, content marketing, nurture leads with proof, case studies, guides, anything that's going to help them. Blog content for sure. You want to be able to express that you guys are your company is a thought leader. You understand the customer's needs. You understand basically hot topics of those industries, and that's a great way to make sure that they understand that. And here's just an example. This is not a hard, fast rule for any of these channels, but how you would kind of work in these channels in the different stages of your buying journey. So for example, in the awareness, I'm going to really think about my messaging. I'm going to be more apt to look at the thought leadership content. So again, that includes blogs, things that are promote yourself as we know what we're talking about. We understand you and your industry. Of course, search marketing and paid media can fall into this awareness because again, those high intent search keywords for sure. The consideration phase this is where you could certainly incorporate email if you're asking for email addresses, especially if you have newsletters to offer, but be consistent with that. Content as far as guides, like buying guides, specific white papers if they need them. This is where remarketing can come in handy as well. So if somebody has already visited your site, you can remarket to them on paid search, on display. ABM kind of starts here, right? So you're going after the right audience with the right messaging. I would even say ABM starts more at awareness as well. This, not in this example, but ABM can start in awareness because you can use LinkedIn to, again, really hone in on that audience and then make them aware of who are you, what do you do, right? And then after a while, move them into that consideration stage. Oh, now I have something to offer you. So just as an example, but this is kind of how you can shuffle around your channels to make sense. Because again, with all of these, even if there's some that overlap between, the messaging has to change, the offer has to change, what the pages that you're bringing them into your website has to change. So, and an example of a cohesive campaign in action. So if our goal here is to generate qualified leads for a new industrial automation product, if that's my products, right? So in the top of funnel or the awareness stage, I'll probably look at paid search ads for factory automation systems. Again, those really high intent keywords. And then LinkedIn video and carousel ads, because again, I want to hit the right type of target audience and with the right messaging. So 3 signs your line is ready for automation. Maybe somebody wasn't even thinking about that. They're like, oh, you know what? I do want to know what those 3 signs are that make me ready for automation, right? Or maybe it's on the cusp of what they're thinking of tackling for next year, right? You kind of got to hit them at the right moment. Then moving into mid funnel, this is where, again, that content that really is going to be valuable comes in. So as far as blogs go, it could be how to automate your production line safely, because that could be a specific concern or pain point for your potential customers that you want to address and make sure that they know that you know how to address that and can help them with that. As far as an ebook download, so manufacturer's guide to safe automation could be a topic there. And then any kind of nurturing emails, if you can get them to sign up. So ROI insights, and then customer success stories, testimonials, things like that. That is going to show them that, yes, I've helped similar customers through this process or with this product. They had this issue. Here's how we basically addressed it. Here was the solution for them. That might not be the solution for you, but we offer this basically hand-holding type service, right? And then the bottom of funnel in the consideration stage is where you want to definitely hit up the retargeting ads in this particular example. And then Google, that could be Google Display and LinkedIn with testimonials. Again, showing them that social proof, because at this point they're like, yes, I know we need a vendor. Now I'm comparing who I found. Landing page should have, again, that social proof plus a clear schedule consultation call to action. Again, ask for the sale, ask for them to reach out. Don't be afraid to do that. Learn more buttons are not going to work at this stage. The learn more is more top of funnel stuff, right? And then the sales follow-up email can be a reuse of the case study PDF, right? That you've already shared with them or used in maybe LinkedIn campaigns. Step 3 here, I'm going to move on to optimizing for conversions, right? So don't just get clicks, get customers. So looking at your landing page best practices, and this is not all inclusive by any means, but here's a good place to start. Match your messaging to your ad. I can't tell you how many times I've clicked through an ad and it didn't feel like the right place that to be put on the website, but it felt like maybe they didn't have a better place. Don't be afraid to do landing pages for paid advertising. I know some companies will shy away from it, but I actually do think in certain instances it's almost necessary, especially if you're talking to a specific industry. So if you're going after a specific vertical, I want to be coming into, if you have the messaging on that ad be specific to me and my vertical, I should expect that the landing page you're bringing me into also speaks to my specific vertical. And you don't have to write unique content for that vertical. You can reuse current content and just make sure you are referencing their vertical, as long as it makes sense to do that, right? Using social proof. So yes, testimonials. Logos here actually refers to any kind of certifications that you might be required for that vertical. I know like defense and military probably are looking for ISO certifications, maybe GSA certifications, things like that. Make sure those are visible somewhere. And then again, that clear single call to action. Ask for what you want them to do on that page. And it can be several times on the page, not knowingly, but make sure they can clearly get to that next step. Some lead magnet ideas for manufacturers. So like I referenced earlier, but buying guides are super valuable. If you have a product that you know takes some understanding of their needs to fit the right type of product, and you can kind of give guidance on that, make a guide out of that. If your salespeople just have this, this knowledge of, okay, when they call, here's a few questions that I ask them, put that in a guide. Make it available to them to ask themselves before they call. It's going to help that call go a lot quicker and a lot smoother, I should say. Spec sheets and CAD drawings if necessary, right? And then these things can all be gated. And when I say gated, so they can fill out basically their information to get them. Buying guides, I'm on the fence of if those should be gated. I feel like if it's a helpful piece that you want to show that you're helpful, maybe don't gate them, but definitely CAD drawings. If you're like, hey, I can provide you these CAD drawings, but you got to give us a little bit of information so we know who you are asking for these CAD drawings, that should probably be gated. Probably not spec sheets. ROI calculators for sure. So if you have a product that is, or even a product that is going to save them time, save them money, do a little estimating on how much time, what does that translate into production costs, like if they're using your product for their product, right? And then don't forget about conversion follow-up. So don't forget about those automated email sequences, and do some lead scoring. Have your sales team do some lead scoring with, or feedback at least. That feedback loop from sales, even operations, back to marketing is invaluable to showing this is working and this is getting us the right type of leads. And then coming back to overall website experience, so just a few more things on that. Overall, this is overall, your website should be easy to use. So ensuring that your site has really clear navigation and messaging, that whatever they're looking for, they can find easily, right? Mobile experience. So you might be thinking, well, my customers are probably all accessing it through desktop. I wouldn't be so sure. I would, if you don't have GA4, so Google Analytics installed on your website, get it installed because it's eye-opening as far as what kind of devices, what kind of browsers they're using, what pages they're coming into, how long they're spending on your website. Definitely get that. But that can definitely make a case too for, my site isn't that friendly on mobile. We need to do something about that. Well, now we know that 40% of our traffic is mobile. That makes a case for that. Site speed, again, I touched on this before, but really your content and images need to load quickly. People will fall off your site if it takes more than a couple seconds to load. That's just the nature of how we are. We have very, very short attention spans and have no time for slow websites. Quality design. So the site needs to look professional and current. There's clearly sites that you've probably gone to that look a little dated. You can kind of tell I would say more than anything, just make it look cohesive, that the images are all kind of the same type of images. You're not the layouts of your pages don't change with every single page that you're going to, kind of create some consistency there, because there's actually a learning curve to somebody using your website. And if you have a right nav on one page, but then you have a top nav on the other, or one of them has a image header, but then the text starts beginning at the next page, it creates kind of a jumbly mess for somebody as far as experience goes. Trust signals. So again, those testimonials, those reviews, those case studies to validate your legitimacy, have them sprinkled throughout. We've consistently created call outs for pages across somebody's website that just has a quick testimonial. And maybe it's lower on the page because it's not the goal of that page, but it's somewhere to kind of, oh yeah, that's a testimonial from that company. I know that company. And then the clear contact options. So make sure that they don't have to hunt and peck to get to your actual contact us or to request a quote form. Yeah, make sure that it's visible throughout their experience and consistent. Okay, and then step 4, and probably the most important step, is just measure what matters. So track, analyze, improve, repeat. Definitely make sure, again, that if you don't have Google Analytics, get Google Analytics. But also understand your KPIs, your key performance indicators, by your funnel stage and your channel, right? So if you've gone through this process and you're using your channels in the right stage of the buying cycle or the buying journey, be realistic about the KPIs that you're measuring and what you're getting out of them, right? So if I'm going onto LinkedIn, let's say, for example, and I'm reaching out to a new audience, I'm really using this for awareness, like, hey, we are a player in this game. I know your business, because we're just breaking into that vertical. I shouldn't really expect website visits from that. I'd probably more expect impressions, reach, maybe engagement with the post if they want to share or save the post, but not really at that point traffic or conversions at that point, right? You're introducing yourself to somebody. They're not immediately going to buy from you. That'd be great, but that's unrealistic, let's say. And then in the interest stage, this is where, so they might recognize your name at this point. You're offering them more of a valuable content like those guides. At this point, yes, I would expect some click through, maybe a download if you're offering a download, content engagement overall, and then return visitors if you're bringing them back to your site. In the consideration stage, this is where I'm really looking for the conversion. Not that you can get that in the awareness and interest stage, but in the consideration stage where I'm like, okay, I've moved them through the funnel. At this point, I want them to reach out. That's where I'm going to be measuring more conversion rate, RFQs, form completions, contact us, whatever the call to action is, I'm measuring against for that channel or that stage. And again, as I mentioned, some of the tools, GA4, so that's Google Analytics, HubSpot, if you are using HubSpot, especially the marketing piece of that, can definitely give you visibility through the funnel too, all the way through CRM integration. Looker Studio is a Google product that can actually bring in multiple sources of data. So it can actually connect to your LinkedIn, connect to your GA4, connect to your Google ads, and you can bring in the data together. So you can look at things holistically and in one area. And that makes it really easy for like those executive reports too. And then CRM integration. So if you're at a point where in your company, your sales team is using CRMs, make sure that you are fully integrated as much as you can be from the marketing side. So is it passing the lead source when it comes through from the website? I want to know, is this coming from organic? Is it coming from LinkedIn? Is it coming from my paid search ads? Because then you can follow it all the way through the sales process and then see, did that lead become an opportunity? Did that opportunity become revenue? And then that, of course, will help you with your ROI and help you understand what you need to continue to invest in. And then just using the continuous improvement mindset. So we should all be familiar with, as manufacturers, the continuous improvement mindset, essentially, but test, analyze, refine. Continue to look at that. Nothing you do should be set it and forget it, for sure. Okay, some common mistakes to avoid here. Really focusing on the wrong metrics for the funnel tactic. So again, going back to the KPIs by funnel stage, be so intentional about the channels that you're using in each one of these stages, and then match those metrics to that funnel stage and that channel. That's going to help you in reporting. It's going to help you and when you go to give ROI for specific channels, because not every channel is going to be an ROI driver, but it's needed to push them to the next step, right? Ignoring follow-up workflows. So definitely email sequences for sales. Don't put that on sales because you might be disappointed. If they need a little bit of email automation on their end, so when that lead comes in, there's an automated email that reaches out to them and says, hey, we'll be in touch with you shortly, hopefully within 24 business hours or 24 hours, as long as business days. Here's some things that we want you to consider, also some social proof, whatever. Have that as a first touch point. Then they're not like, it's not like I submitted a form and it was crickets for a while. So yeah, definitely, if you can set up some of those email automations, you can even have your sales team drop specific contacts into actual drip campaigns. So if you're like, this guy, I end up calling and he's really interested in this particular product line. They're not ready to buy right now. I'm going to follow up with him next month or whatever. You can drop that into any of those drip campaigns that you have set up, and then they'll continue to reach out about, here's what's new in that product line. Here's what you should consider with that product. Here's why we're the best option for you to buy that product from us, and kind of nurturing that, not annoyingly, but offering more helpful information. And that's really the name of the game. Any kind of thing that you are giving them, especially in email, just needs to be helpful. And not aligning marketing and sales goals. This goes way back to when you're setting your goals. Is it a marketing goal or objective, or is this actually what sales is working on too? So siloing your marketing and sales goals isn't going to work. You need to be talking to each other. Again, that feedback loop, especially, is going to be helpful here. Make sure that you're both working towards the same goals. You just have maybe a different approach, right? And then failing to track quality, not just quantity. I can certainly get you a lot of traffic really quickly to your site with 100 different ways. I can't guarantee quality on all of those ways. So I need to be intentional about the ways that I am getting traffic, and then I'm going to measure what did the quality at least maintain quality of the number of traffic I'm getting, or does it fall short, right, as far as quality goes, and I just got quantity. Then maybe we back that off and look at something that's going to get us a little more quality. And then one case study that I'll share with you from Top Floor here is, so Toolcraft Machining is one of our clients, and they really had evolving business needs, focusing on specifically on government contracts. Their go-to marketing strategy just needed to adapt really to the opportunities in the defense sector when they came to us. And I will give you a little more background on that. They actually were kind of burned by the agencies that they worked with before that. And a lot of it was exactly that last point, is that those agencies were so focused on quantity, they weren't getting any kind of quality. In fact, it was like it was almost eating up their quality, because they were so focused on the quantity. Um, the strategy that we had here, so they had existing SEO and PPC um, foundation, but really it was building on that foundation. So we implemented a dual track approach, the always on SEO and PPC. So we need to maintain that baseline, if not improve it, right, on their search engine optimizations as well as their paid search channels, to maintain that consistent visibility, especially with their highly relevant terms. And then we created campaigns that were meant to be flexible. So they don't always have internal capacity for all the jobs. So it's a good problem to have, but also something that we have to account for, because they don't want to turn down business either, because that tends to sour people, right, from coming back to them. So we had flexibility within campaigns that got them more leads, quality leads. So we can back that off when we need to, or turn it up when we need to. They also had recruitment needs. So something that I know a lot of manufacturers deal with is finding talent. But we also help with that as well, because again, you need people to be productive. So we also have campaigns ready to go when they need them for their recruiting needs, when they have open positions. And then any kind of seasonal cycles that they have for specific product or specific jobs, usually in the defense segment, right? So the results of all of that were double the qualified leads in the first 30 days. So we did a lot of that cleaning up of their foundational that actually produced double leads in that first 30 days. They had a 29% increase in leads year to date, which was great, excellent. We're still seeing increases, actually. I think that's an older number. And then 63% increase in content engagement. So again, having the right type of content and being that helpful content really made a huge difference. They kind of had, I worked on this one myself, actually. They kind of had things in different spots of their website that were really good value propositions, but they weren't in the right spots to be offered as value propositions in the right moment to the right people. So that was super important. A lot of that was when engineering support, actually, like pre-sale engineering support. That is, it was a big sales value proposition for sure. Okay, so your next steps, your homework, right? Start by auditing your funnel, right? So review your traffic, your leads, your conversions. What is your starting point here? I would also say actually match up where you think you're using your current channels that you're running with the stage of the funnel that you think it's adding value to currently. Then you can move on to create, what does that look like ideally, right? And then find out how to get there. Find the gaps. So identify where your prospects are dropping off. Do you have some kind of touch point in your marketing at every step of the funnel or every step of their journey? And then I would even go back and talk to sales. What do the people that get to them find that difficult to find in their journey? What are some of their pain points? Get that feedback from them. Set measurable goals. Again, aligning those KPIs to your actual business objectives, as well as the channel and part of the funnel that makes sense for those KPIs. And then the goals should be measurable as well. Aligning your teams. So really sync your marketing and sales follow-up, specifically messaging. So if you're coming if you're showing the first part of their journey as one type of message, but then it gets to sales and they're like, oh, I don't know what that means, or I don't know what you're talking about. Like that's that does not show consistency in your messaging. It can be a huge turnoff for them. Scale what works. So again, once you're measuring, once you're getting that data, you can say, okay, this is really working and has opportunity to work better with more budget. This other channel isn't doing anything for us in any type of capacity. Let's take that budget and move it over. But you don't know that until you start measuring and start aligning again the metrics that you want to see for that particular channel. All right. That's everything I had. If there's any questions, you certainly can drop them in the chat or let us know. Otherwise, again, I'm available via email or on LinkedIn for any follow-up.
Oh, I don't see anything in the chat yet, so let's give it another second here.
Sure.
All right, well, everyone, we thank you for joining us, and we really thank Andrea for participating and teaching us all that valuable information. So if you have any questions, you have her information. I will be sending out the recording here shortly, so you can listen to that again if you need to. Otherwise, I think we're all set.
All right. Thank you so
All right,
much.
appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.